So let's practice drawing angles in standard position. Now, when you're drawing angles, remember how I told you that these angles that are in standard position, the angles are really measuring for us how much that terminal side rotated in order for you to reach that, and how much the initial side rotated in order for you to reach the terminal side. So that rotation, that's the thing that's telling us what the angle is. That angle is the rotation. Now, if you notice though, so far I've just been rotating, kind of going upwards or going counterclockwise. But that's not the only way we can rotate. If I have an initial side that's starting here, I can also rotate down or rotating clockwise and then end up being in the terminal side here. So for us from now on, if you want to rotate counterclockwise, that's going to be a positive measure. And if you want to rotate clockwise, that's going to be a negative measure. So anytime you see an angle that's positive, that's telling you rotate counterclockwise from your initial side towards your terminal side. If you see a negative measure, meaning your angle is negative, that's telling you here's my initial side, I'm rotating clockwise, so I'm rotating down. So let's look at an example. Here's 45. Now, before we draw 45, we want to look at what does 45 mean in relation to the full rotation. It's because remember, 360 represents our full rotation. Well, if you think about it, if you remember, 90 degrees was half of a full rotation. But if you was 1/4 of a full rotation. 45, however, 45 is half of 90 degrees. So 45, if 90 is 1/4 of a full rotation, 45 is really half of that half, which really means that it's 1/8 of a full rotation. So just to make our words less or our writing less wordy, we're going to just say full rotation. FR is going to represent full rotation. So 45 degrees is 1/8 of a full rotation, which means what? It means here is my initial side, as always, point towards the right, and I need 1/8 of a full rotation. So here's a full rotation. I need 1/8 of that, where 1/8 is half of the fourth. This was fourth, so I need half of the fourth, which means that I would be rotating about here. Okay, so remember, you're always worrying about two things. One, am I positive or negative? Positive means you're going to be rotating counterclockwise. Negative means you're rotating clockwise. Second part is, how much am I rotating from my initial side? That 45 degree, you're asking yourself how much or what fraction of a full circle do I have to rotate? In this case, 45 is 1/8 of a full rotation because it's 1/8 of 360, and this is about 1/8. Okay, so let's look at negative 90 degrees. So 90 degrees, we looked at it before. 90 degrees was exactly 1/4 of a full rotation. Full rotation meaning full circle. So that's one thing that we know. We're going to rotate 1/4 of a circle. Now, the second part, we have a negative. What does that negative tell us? Well, the negative is saying that here's my initial side. Now, instead of rotating counterclockwise like I've been doing so far, I'm in fact going to be rotating down clockwise. So I need to rotate clockwise, in the clockwise direction, 1/4 of a full circle. Well, what is 1/4 of a full circle? This is full circle, so 1/4 would put me exactly over here. So this is my 90 degree angle, and this is my 45 degree angle. In fact, this is negative 90. Okay, couple more. So now we have 225. 225, we want to figure out what's the fraction that we're dealing with in terms of a full circle. Well, okay, we're going to go ahead and take 225 divided by 360. If we divide both of them by 5, here I'm going to be getting 45, and here I'm going to be getting 72. I divide both of them by 9, and I get 5/8. What does that mean? It basically means I need 5/8 of a full rotation. So if I'm drawing it how here, if you notice, 45 1/8 was about halfway between this the x-axis, the positive x-axis, and the positive y-axis. So that means I'm starting, because this is a standard position again, I'm starting from the vertex as 0, 0, and I'm going towards the right side. And now to represent 5/8, that really means I have 1/8, 2/8, 3/8, 4/8, 5/8. That's puts me exactly halfway between this angle, between the negative x-axis and the negative y-axis. So this would be 225 degrees, about. Okay, last one. Here I have 405 degrees. So again, as usual, I want to figure out how much is this in relationship to the full rotation. So I'm going to take 405 and divide that by the 360 to say how does it compare to the 360. Now notice how here, this is something weird though. We see that we have 405 is actually greater than 360. So what do we do in that case? Well, that's not really weird. What that's really telling you is that after you completed your full rotation, you're actually going to continue. So we have a full circle plus some more rotation. So to make our lives easier, one thing you could do if you end up having something that's greater than 360 degrees, you can go ahead and just subtract 360 degrees from that. Because what that really tells you is the 360 is that full rotation. Well, you already know that's going to be a full circle. And then whatever is left over, that's the extra. So if we take 405 minus 360, that actually just gives us 45 degrees. So what does that mean? Well, we don't actually have to simplify anything. We can look at, say, all right, I am going to start in my initial side, pointing towards the right. And now first I need 360 degrees because 405 equals 360 plus 45, which means first I need a 360. So I'm going to rotate all the way around. Now I completed this part. Now I need to complete the second part. Well, what's the second part? Second part is 45 degrees. Well, remember, 45 degrees is exactly right here. We drew that already. So that means I really just need to go however much 45 degrees is, and here is my full rotation. So notice how if you end up getting something that's greater than 360, just subtract 360 from it, and that way you can break up that number into two pieces. You have a 360 plus something else. So if you need the 360, start with 360, that's a full circle, plus, and then add to it whatever that extra part was, and that's going to give you your full angle. All right, so now that we know the unit measure of degrees and how to draw these out, next we're going to look at the next unit, which is radians.